The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs, SiriusXM 168.
It's time for Millennial Money with Genevieve Roch-Decter from Grid Capital right now on The Todd Shapiro Show.
Avocado toast munching millennial.
What's up, G?
Wow, what an intro. I'm honored. I mean, I hate avocado toast, but I am.
Yeah, I think the play on avocado toast is me chirping millennials all the time, which is save your friggin' money. Stop wasting $12 every day on a coffee. And, you know, that you're going to need this stuff when you're older. You know what I'm saying, G?
I swear I completely agree. Millennials are about to get a huge payday over the next 25 years. $68 trillion is supposedly coming to us.
Well, wait. Well, so it's a good thing. Wait, what's going on there? There's money coming towards millennials?
Yeah, intergenerational wealth transfer. Our parents are going to be transferring pretty much 3x the U.S. GDP to us over 25 years. So we shouldn't be blowing it on avocado toast. We should be, and we shouldn't be putting it all in ETFs. I know that's what the brokers at the banks want us to do, but I think we should be looking at cool companies like Enthusiast Gaming and looking at things that we can relate to, like cannabis companies. And, you know, when crypto was in the hot seat last year, is definitely interesting. And maybe at some point again here soon when it bottoms out. But I've been doing a lot of research on sort of the media end of things. And, like, I don't know about you, but do you watch, like, CNBC or BNN or Todd? Like, where do you get your information about all these, like, cool sort of niche small cap companies?
Let's start with Kenny Reid. What do you follow the markets at all?
I get it all from Peter.
Well, Peter falls. I think Peter's in the market, right? Peter, you look at stocks.
Yeah, I sure am. Actually, what you just said, we played a bit of mine earlier where I call myself part of the generation of inheritance. So you were absolutely correct.
That's very funny.
With the generational wealth being transferred down.
Except you don't think Dad's going to give you any of it. You say,
No,
I'm spending it all.
Our dad sat us down once. He goes, "Boys, I'm spending it all."
Well, and how could not every parent feel that way? You know, like I always hope my parents are good with their money, and I'm like, fuck, if I got to that age, I would not give a shit.
I said to Dad, go for it. He's living like Tony Montana and Scarface right now.
I know, totally.
Well, and the millennials, they want to make sure they're going to get a piece of the pie, so they're staying home with their parents, or they're moving back home just to make sure they stay close to that honeypot, right?
I think
how
the
old were you
parents
when
are
you
entitled to it. Blow it. Go at it. Have fun, man.
How old were you when you moved out?
When I moved out? Oh, I moved out probably first year university, like after university, the first year I was out. I was working for my dad for a summer, and we would like drive to work together, and then we'd come home, and I'd be like having dinner with him and talking about work. I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is too much.
I'm always amazed at people who are married and work together. Like, that to me is the strongest couple on the, like, there's some people do that. That to me, I don't know how. I don't know how they don't. You know, you want to get away, but they won't. Yeah, you got. Yeah, Peter, why are you doing a ring in the neck action?
During those AGM, those annual meetings, if you're married to your work partner, right?
Oh God, yeah, board meetings, going over anything, and how do you not
BORED, as Norm would say?
Yeah, the board meetings. So Genevieve, how do people find out about, you know, other than, you know, what you're doing over at Grid Capital, or, like, you know, we like to admit it and talk about it, and when I say admit it, talk about full disclosure companies I invest in that also sponsor the show. One being Enthusiast Gaming. I'm a personal investor in that company as well. It's a publicly traded company, and, you know, full disclosure, the most honest way is how you're supposed to do this stuff also. But how do people find out about this stuff?
Well, they're definitely not watching the traditional financial news. That's not happening. I was like floored to learn how small the viewership is. Like CNBC, for example, like, I don't know, I would have assumed like 10% of Americans are watching CNBC, so like 30 million people. It's actually 300,000 people a day are watching CNBC. So where are those eyeballs shifting? So I don't know if your listeners know about Cheddar. So Cheddar was started on the New York Stock Exchange 3 years ago. And it's all online. It's all streaming. It's all like Twitch, YouTube, like all the platforms. And it's literally kind of like the MTV meets CNBC. It's created in a way, in a format that's digestible, like short and punchy, informative stuff, not the whole like boring, like over-constructed, over-polished kind of type that we're used to seeing. And I think that's where it's all going. And I'm seeing it myself in on Bay Street and in finance. Like, all these really sort of boring outlets where, you get a CEO on interviewed by like some really boring interviewer and they just regurgitate and just tell you exactly, what the CEO wants you to say. Like, that's going away. I think real, authentic, this sort of movement to real time and not over scripted is where it's at. That's why your show's great, right? You guys are off the cuff. You say how it is. So, I mean, I'm not going to talk up my own station, but like on Grit Capital, on Instagram, we have, so if like BNN has 5,000 viewers, we have like 1,000 a day, and I can see exactly who's watching. It's like hedge fund managers, institutional portfolio managers. It's all the people you want looking at this stuff, because the banks they're not showing clients this cool products, these cool companies. They're showing the ETFs.
But on top of that, and I think the banks have a duty. I was thinking about this a lot lately with investing. You'll talk about investing in a real way at Grit Capital. I'll talk about investing in a real way here. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, do your due diligence. You got to be careful about this stuff. Make sure you believe in management teams. Make sure you believe in companies, look at revenues, all this stuff. And Peter Anthony will tell you far better than I. He's a fucking master at this stuff. But he was one credit away from the accelerated program of getting his MBA until he quit and disappointed his whole family and became a comedian. But I think
the hurt runs deep.
True story.
But I think the banks should show that more, as opposed to just set up your account, get your own trading account. And because people get this control of their own wealth now, which is great because they're saving the fees from maybe one of these, brokers or managers and stuff. But they also half the time don't really know what the fuck they're doing. So do you sort of agree with that it's kind of like, not only are they boring, but they're getting people in the trade. Let's at least inform and educate them.
Well, I completely agree. And like, of course, I would say to anybody out there, put 80% to 90% of your capital in safe stuff. But the other 10%, you can play on the speculative stuff, just what you can afford to lose. But here's the irony. So the banks, so like say RBC, and I hope, the CEO of RBC is not listening, but
I highly doubt that. You have no worries.
They will launch like coverage on a sector, say cannabis, for example. Like they are opposed to launching on cannabis right now. I bet you in 12 months or 18 months or 2 years from now, they will launch coverage on this because they want to make investment banking fees. By the time that they launch coverage on something like this, it's already long gone. All the easy money's been made. All the investors have gotten in and out. It's actually riskier at that point for them to be promoting those sectors. So I find that ironic.
Well, Peter, you have a theory often. Peter's theory sometimes is that, the fear that we hear about the markets, whether it's media or government even, or sometimes banks, like, telling what's risk. And then when things go down, is like sometimes these institutions and start getting in. Like, is that, you think that sometimes, right?
Well, I mean, you can also see the data. You have access now. Like, I mean, there's several sites where you can actually go and see. You can actually watch the value just transfer from retailers to institutions. It happens all the time.
Yeah, usually when Goldman Sachs comes out and says, hey, you should take some money off the table, move to the sidelines, that's exactly when you should be getting in the market. Like they're
right, yeah. And just to go back to what we were talking about too, it's true. Like this stuff investing and markets and everything doesn't have to be like old school and boring. Like it can be exciting and fun. Like in some of the marketing you see now, the stuff that Wealth Simple's doing, I think, or Quest Trade, you can see like even the way they make their ads now, they're sort of like quirky and very millennial driven and colorful and fun and funny sometimes. So like, yeah, and I'm not familiar with the website you were talking about, but Cheddar.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that, but I will check it out. But yeah, for sure, like this stuff should be fun and exciting. It's just money, man. Money's fun, right?
Well, and especially if you
the wonderful world of capitalism. I
there
met
you go.
The founder of Canaccord, which is one of the best sort of like independent boutique firms on Bay Street, and he gave me his business card. And his business card looks like the Coca-Cola label, like it's red with the white letter, it says Coca-Cola, and it says "Enjoy capitalism." And when he handed it to me, I remembered that it's fun, it's a game, and why it's intellectually stimulating, like figuring out what sectors are going to become big next, whether that's e-gaming, like we're getting like our own Overwatch team here in Toronto. I think that's phenomenal. Is it going to be crypto? Is crypto going to come back? Like this is like a fun thing to try and figure out. And I just think that a lot of like the cool action stuff is like online now. It's not on these traditional broadcasting platforms. So yay to Instagram live stories where I can pretty much post anything that I want.
Genevieve, not, and we only have about a minute here, but are more, because you're a female in an industry that's typically male driven. Do you find that more younger millennial females are now looking at you as an inspiration, going, you know what, let me take some control of my wealth, have some fun with this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of data, not just like young females, but like even like in households. Like I talk to brokers at the banks, and they're like, yeah, my client has to like call his wife before he does any trade in his account because he's like blown himself up a couple times. You know, like women are taking the help back to the financial health.
Yeah, that's good advice, actually. Most women, if you're dating a guy, go and find out what they're trading because they're risking a lot of your money. They could probably offer better advice than what they do all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Is that walk-off music below?
That's walk-off music.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we'll go walk-off music. Okay, we got to go, G. I got to go. I'm sorry.
All right, cool.
Great Capital, where can people follow you?
At Great Capital, Instagram.
Awesome. Cheers.
Okay. Bye, guys.
It's a good account. Interesting stuff.
The Todd Shapiro Show.
You are the greatest hero in American history.
SiriusXM Canada Laughs Channel 168.